Hey guys, Alex Rodolitz here. I'm bringing you the Money Haggle Podcast once again this week. This is going to be Volume 1, Episode 2. If you haven't already checked out my podcast from last week, you can click on the recommended videos on the sidebar. Today, what we're going to be talking about is increasing your budgets. And I'm going to show you how to take your $0 that you're not making right now every week and increasing it to $100 without even having a job. So this is great for somebody who, even if you are working, you can do all of these things I'm going to be talking about today. If you aren't, this might actually benefit you more because you'll have more time to do these things. I'm going to talk about this more as we go along. So just sit back and let's get into it. Okay. So the first thing I want to talk about is something that you might or might not have heard of, depending on how internet savvy you are. But today I'm going to be talking about Amazon MTurks. You guys may have heard of this. It's a community where people who want to put out surveys, maybe for their own companies, or for instance like Google sometimes posts on there, or a lot of academic research is performed through this medium. So what happens is people go onto Amazon, and let's say we have Ohio State University wants to put out a study on the effects of internet use in not teenagers, but young adults from 25 to 35 or something like that. So they might put out a study where you can actually be a participant if you fall into their criteria, and you can take the surveys, and the reward for taking the surveys is a fee that they pay you. Now, the fee isn't always the most attractive. And bear with me because this may sound a little nuts at first, but I'll explain why this is actually one of the most lucrative methods to make money every week. So they may only pay you anything from a penny, but they may also pay you anything up to $1. I've been paid $5, $10 for a survey. So what happens is after you do your survey, they give you a completion code, and you put it inside of your submission page, and then they are able to figure out that you performed the task that they're asking. They pay you the money. So how do you get the big bucks, or how do you find, because you're probably sitting here thinking, all right, that's all great, Alex, but how do I find these surveys that are really worth my time? Because how are pennies going to add up to $100 a week? And that's a very good point. That's definitely true. When I first started at MTurks, I was thinking the same exact thing. How is this ever going to benefit me? And to be honest with you, I'm just going to start and preface with this, because this is extremely important, and it's a little bit of a disclaimer. When you start at MTurks, you really don't make as much money as you would as if you've been doing it for a while. So there's more of a risk-reward type of thing, where if you put in more time, and remember, time and money are valuable, but money you can keep spending and get back. Time you can't. So with business and creating your budget, it's all about finding the right amount of time that you can spend into things that are worthwhile. So how do you do this with MTurks? The first few weeks to a month may not make you a ton of money, and I'm just going to put that out there as a disclaimer. What you want to do, though, is you really want to get your numbers up there. So what happens is you submit a hit, what they call a hit, which is a survey that the people put out and the researchers put out. You do the hit, and then the person checks it over, and if you're approved, you get an approved hit. Okay? So some surveys, though, will deny people that have hits that are not less than, let's just say, 500 or 1,000 or 2,000, 3,000, and so on and so forth. And that, becomes a little cumbersome in the beginning, because you're trying to make more money, and the ones that actually do wind up making you a little bit more money, from let's say 50 cents to $1, may require what they call qualifications, like I just talked about hit submission percentage, or how many hits you received or were approved. So my suggestion would be to get on MTurks as soon as possible and start doing as many surveys as you can that don't require qualification or require an amount of some hit submissions, so that you can just get your feet wet as much as possible and get your numbers up so that you can start qualifying for the higher value surveys. Once you do that, though, I'm telling you, it is easy money. And to make your life easier, I'm actually including a little bit of I wouldn't call it a hack, but it's definitely a way to save you so much more time than what I did in the beginning. So if you guys go to Reddit, if you guys are familiar with Reddit, it's just a major, huge forum that have little smaller subsections or subreddits where people can post things that are of interest to them that other people share with. So there's one called Hits Worth Turkin For. There's also other online communities. I think it's called like Turkopticon or something like that. I'll include these links inside of the description so that you guys can take a look over them. What's great about these is, just as an example, I use Hits Worth Turkin For, and I love it because it literally saves you so much time. People will go and do hits or surveys, and they will come up with the amount of time. Like, what happens is when you do a survey, it keeps a timer on how long it takes you. So people actually figure out how long it takes them after they've submitted it, and they post it on side of Hits Worth Turkin For, and other people see it, and then you can click on that link and just do the survey. And sometimes some of these surveys are like 50 cents or $1, and they might only take 2 or 3 minutes. Now think about it. 2 or 3 minutes to make $1, that's pretty good. Don't get ahead of yourself, though, because these aren't ways to, these aren't like consistent ways. So people post them and may post a lot one day and then not so much the other day. What I've noticed is during the entire year, there's a lot of different trends in how much people are posting on Hits Worth Turkin For, and even on the survey hits in MTurks. So you might see a lot more surveys from like fall to spring, and not so much in the summer, because a lot of colleges are putting out research type surveys that, when they're not in session during the summer, they're obviously not doing as much. That's not to say they won't do it. They will still a little bit, but not like you won't have a crazy amount of hits. So if you're doing it during the year and not so much in the summer during the actual school sessions, I've been finding, and this is just from my experience, I could just be making this up, but this is just what I've been studying and realizing from doing it, because I've been doing MTurks, I think, for probably about 3 years or more now at some point. And it's a great way to budget and make your budget up. So these people post up these hits, you do them, and once you get your numbers up, you qualify for more hits and you make more money, and that's fantastic. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm actually going to, you might see it right now, I'm going to post a picture of how much money you can really make. I think in the picture you're going to see I made about $455 using this method. This took a little while to obviously put together, but you can see, though, I think it was, I don't have it in front of me, but October, I think 24th or 25th, I transferred those funds of $455, and you can see there's still like $11 or $12 still left in my account. And that's only a few days from when I took a screenshot of that picture. So you can make a decent amount of money, and each week, I mean, if you're doing this consistently, even if you have a job and you don't have as much time, or maybe you have a job and you have a little bit more time to spare, you can do this while you're just sitting doing your job if you're in front of a computer or even on your phone. Some what's it called, mobile devices, though, don't load the surveys as well, or they don't, some researchers don't accept surveys done on phone, so you got to be a little bit wary of that. But it's a great method, and also if you don't have a job, this might be even a greater opportunity, because if you're home all day, I know at a certain point before I really was working my job that I'm working now, I would be at home all week doing nothing during the day, just doing surveys, and I was doing so many of them that I was qualifying for more and more, and I was going on hits worth looking for and finding surveys on my own and really just building up my numbers. And what I started noticing is people started posting these like high value surveys during the day. So some of the surveys I was doing were $1 worth, $3 worth, sometimes even $10 or $20 worth. Those, and what happens is with those high ticket sort of surveys, those are going to take more time, obviously. So people, sometimes though, that's not always true, because I could do a survey that literally only takes me 2.5 minutes and get paid $1. Sometimes I can do one that takes me 8 minutes and I get paid $2 or $1. How the people on Hits Worth Turkey For kind of break it down is that you should be doing about 10 cents. You should be giving 1 minute of your time in the survey to make 10 cents. So you should be making, whatever. You should be making $1 every, if it takes you 10 minutes, it should take you make you $1 at most. You shouldn't be spending more time than that to make $1, pretty much. That's how they kind of break it down. I think that's a great method because that saves you so much time. And remember, the more time you have to invest in something, the more money you can make somewhere else. So this is a fantastic way to make money online. I really highly suggest it. But remember, get your numbers up. That's really what the most important thing is. And I was at one point, I was pulling in and I still even do, even with the job I work, I could still make anywhere from $20 to $40 a week just doing this method alone. And that's really because my numbers are up. I use Hits Worth Turkey For, and I look for qualifications, and I'll talk about that maybe in another video. And I might cover more in depth MTurks, because I feel like I talked about it a decent amount here, but I'll talk about it a little bit more, and there's so much more that goes into it that I could talk hours about. If you guys want me to talk more about it, just leave comments or questions in the comment section below, and I'll definitely respond to those. Or just send me an email, and I'll leave my email in the description section. All right, let's talk about another way to make some more money. Just going back on that point, if you guys are interested in making money, small amounts of money in a quick amount of time, like MTurks, I would suggest going also on Reddit's Beer Money subreddit, and that's really just devoted to all sort of programs, apps, websites. For instance, there's something called Swagbucks, where Swagbucks is like MTurks over times 1,000 in some regards, because there's so many different ways to make money. It's just not just they offer surveys, but they also offer you can run just ads on your or just videos on your iPhone, and just make money just by watching videos, and you don't have to even watch them. You just play them on your device. And there's obviously other ways, even just spending money. If you spend money on some products that they're promoting, you actually get money in return, reward points, and then you cash them in for actual money, which is great. And I believe they run through a gift card sort of transaction, but I don't recall. I forget. I haven't used it in a while, but it's definitely a recommended site. So go on Beer Money, and there's a lot of sites like that suggest how to make small quantities of money in a quick amount of time. And a lot of people post up new ideas all the time, so it's really a great way to increase your budget. Another way to increase your budget is actually a simple way that you might not even think about. Some of you may even be doing this right now. Some of you may not be doing this, but it's actually something anybody can do. And that's actually creating a budget for your budget. And what I mean by that is just creating savings. So what you have to do is take your money. Maybe you have a job right now. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're making money online and you don't work at home. You don't have a job outside of your home, or you just you do odd jobs or whatever your situation is. Take your money, whatever money you are making, and keep your money, take a percentage of your money and save a little bit each day. I really got this. I mean, this is an old principle, but I've been reading this book and I really highly suggest it. I'll put it in the description if you guys want to read it or want to look into it more. It's called The Richest Man in Babylon. It's a fantastic book. It has some, really old school language in it. So if you're not into like that whole Shakespearean type of language, it may be very difficult to read, but the principles that are taught in this book are fantastic. And there's one chapter that talks about, it's all told in like a parable of how people in Babylon were some of the richest people that ever existed. And there's this one guy, I think his name is Arkid or something like that, and he's teaching people how to make money, and he talks about like how you should just save a little bit each day and take all the money that you earn. You're really giving it to other people already in your head, and you don't even realize it. So what you have to do is in your mind retrain it to find ways to take that money out and save it so that you are benefiting your future self. That sort of principle. So if you just set a budget for yourself, you can actually increase the amount of money that you have to spend each week. And you'll find that actually can go to the $100 that you want to earn. And it's just such a simple principle to begin with. You could also do this with savings in regards to like, we all have to eat, right? So most of you probably go grocery shopping. Take the money that you were going to spend and figure out a better way. Just sit down and figure out a better way to spend your money so that you can save it, and take the money that you were going to spend on the groceries that you saved and put it towards your budget. No money has to come out of your pocket at all. You don't have to do anything much other than just going a little bit without certain items. But in the long term, when you put that money into your products and your inventory that you're going to use and you'll resell, you're going to thank yourself big time. And I know I've done this before, and I even do it to this day. Even I actually just went grocery shopping just before, and I did the same thing. I saved myself money because budgeting is extremely important, and savings is extremely important. Another thing you can do is, if you do have some skills and experience with selling, a lot of people, I know myself, I have stuff just laying around my house that's just sitting here. I have someone bought me an old guitar. It's not the the nicest guitar, and it's not the cheapest either, but it's not anything to. It's not something I really use much anymore, because I have two guitars. One I use is an acoustic, and then this is an electric that I don't use much. You can literally just put it on Let Go or on eBay or anything like that, and it won't really cost you much money at all to do that, and you'll wind up profiting. This stuff is just laying around your house. We all have stuff that we don't use that's just sitting on the floor, in the corner, in our closets, taking up space, and it's just wasting away for no reason. You might as well clean up the clutter. The less clutter you have in your life, the better off you'll be. The more money you'll have in your pocket, and the closer you're going to be to creating a higher budget for yourself. So get rid of this stuff that you don't need anymore and sell it right now, okay? Let's talk about some other things. One thing I don't do personally, but actually my brother does it, and I think my mom really, it's kind of strange, my mom actually kind of got him into doing this because my brother does it too, but she and my brother, I guess, buy a lot of water bottles and items that come in a bottle and can. So I'm going to suggest that you guys recycle, and before you guys go, okay, I'm gonna start becoming like the hobo that's walking around the train platforms trying to pick up huge garbage bags full of cans so I can make a little bit of money. Just hear me out, because this is a good method. You can literally make, and I've done the research on this, 5 to 10 cents per can or bottle, depending on which one we're talking about. My brother had told me he would go into the recycling machine with just not even a full bag, like a full he would have a full garbage bag. It wouldn't even be completely full, but it would literally buy him a pound of deli meat a week that he never had to pay for because all he did was recycle bottles that he would have just thrown out anyway. You guys have money just sitting inside of your garbage, inside of other people's garbage, inside of your recycling bin right now that you're not doing anything with. You're just giving it away. It makes no sense. You can be making a ton of money on that, and it really doesn't take a lot of work at all to collect bottles and to put them inside the machine. You need to invest your time, of course, but it's definitely a worthwhile investment. And think about it. If he's buying deli meat, it could be like 10, depending on I don't know how much deli meat he was buying, but like let's say it's like $10 or $20 extra a week. That's a pretty good investment, I think, if you're just collecting bottles and putting them inside of a machine. It doesn't really take much effort, and that's a good amount of money to make doing that. Okay, so definitely try that one out. And the last thing I'm going to suggest is, I guess some people might call it penny pinching. So really go around and find loose change. And I know this may sound, silly and whatever, but I'm telling you, this method does work. It's not going to work on a consistent basis because what you're doing essentially is you're finding money, inside of your car, under your bed, inside of your drawers and closet that's just been laying around, or maybe you just have loose change from things that you've been buying every week. And what I suggest is find a nice jar, start putting your money, your change inside of it, and save it up. And then go feed a coin machine. I wouldn't really suggest a coin machine, honestly, because they're going to take, I remember I was using Coinstar at one point, and they take like 8% of your funds. Like, why pay them? It doesn't really make sense just because you're going to give them loose change. Like, why pay them almost a tenth of how much, the amount of your total savings in that, of that change is worth? It doesn't really make sense. The better thing is if you have a bank, if you can get to a bank, go get some rolls, get everything saved up, put the rolls together and bring it into the bank. They're not going to get mad at you, trust me. I've seen, there are people who come into this bank that I go to and they bring in rolls every week. That they'll probably get mad at you about, but I just don't feel like this is something that you can do consistently, but it's enough because remember, the whole goal here is just to get $100. So you just have to get $100 one time, and you can literally start your business with that. That's all you really need. And that's all I really had when I started my business, and it flourished. So just getting back to this point, before I get onto that, save up your money, find your change, roll it up, bring it to the bank. I'm telling you, it'll bring you money. With these methods, I've used these before. It's turned into profit for me. And I've used it to create a budget, and all you really need is $100. I've helped a friend start up his eBay business, and he was broke. He was completely tapped on his funds. His bank account was like, it was just terrible. Like, he was in debt, and he found ways to increase his funds. Some of these methods he used, some he didn't, but he was able to put his funds together, start an eBay business, and make profit. And this happened within, a week or two. So if he can do it, if I can do it, I know you can do it. You guys have something that we didn't have. Well, he had me, but I didn't have him. I didn't have what I'm giving you guys right now. And that's knowledge to help you figure out exactly what you have to do to get started, okay? So my suggestion is get started right away, keep at it, and you guys are going to do fantastic. I know it. And if you guys have any questions or comments about any of the ways that you can make money that I talked about in this podcast, or you have any comments, or even if you have other suggestions about how you guys make money in regards to doing things that don't even require you to have a job and you can do within, let's say, a week's time, feel free to post it on in the comments section, because I really want to create these videos not only just to give you guys some knowledge, but so you guys can help each other learn how to build your businesses. It's very important that you have strength in numbers, and the more that people network and work together, it's actually going to improve not only your skills, your communication skills, but also your business overall. So go out there, go make some money, and I look forward to talking to you guys in the next podcast. And if you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe, and click on the links below if you have any more questions, or email me. Take care, guys. See you later.